إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد صلاة دائمة مقبولة تعدي بها أن هتكه العظيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يطع الرسول فقد أطاع الله صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين غوث اعظم من بے سر و سامہ مدد قبلہ دی مدد کعبہ ایما مدد قادریم نعرائے یا غوث اعظم بزنم دمز شیخ احمد رضا خان قطب عالم بزنم سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد مسلک سرکار اعلیٰ اعلیٰ حضرت زندہ باد یا الہی مسلک احمد رضا خان زندہ باد حفظ ناموس رسالت کا جو ذمہ دار ہے سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد حامل فیض رضائے مصطفیٰ امداد کن صلی اللہ علیہ النبی الأمی وآلہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم صلاة و سلام علیک یا سیدی یا سندی یا حبیبی یا طبیبی یا رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم وعلی آلک و اصحابک یا رحمت للعالمین. All praise is due to Almighty Allah. Durood and salams upon the most perfect, exalted and glorified of Allah's creation, Sayyiduna wa Mawlana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His blessings and salutations upon the Anbiya Ikram, Ahl Bayt Athar, Sahaba Ikram, Khulafa Rashidin, Tabain, Tabi'in, Aimma Mujtahideen, Awliya Kamilin, and all those who follow the path until the last day. We thank Almighty Allah through His infinite mercy and through the wasila of Rasul Akram, Noori Mujassam, Surur Kalbisina, Tajdari Madina, Fakhri Mawjudat, HAZRAT Mustafa, Ahmad Mustafa, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for blessing us with the opportunity to congregate to Salat al-JUMMAH and to prostrate in His most exalted court. Before continuing, let us all direct our thoughts and our minds and our hearts towards the holy and the sanctified court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in doing so let us collectively recite the Durud Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Mawlana Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadin salatan daimatan maqbulatan tu'addi biha anna haqqahu al-azim. The topic that I intended discussing today has a lot to do with the kalam that Hafiz Sharif just read. So Alhamdulillah, he has made my job easy to explain whatever I needed to explain to you today. But for Surah Barakat, and for those who don't understand the Urdu language, what I'm going to do very quickly, before I say that which I need to say, is I'm going to read the translation of this kalam that he read, so that you understand what he was reading. Durud Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Nabiyyina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ashabihi wa barik wa sallim. This kalam is of Huzur Tajushariah radiyallahu anhu, and it is in his Safina Bakshish, which we have translated into English. It's available at Imam Mustafa Raza Research Center. You can get a free copy as well. All the kalams have been put into English and they're in transliteration, so for those who can't read Urdu also, your children can still read that kalam. Okay. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. حضور تاجوشریہ رضی اللہ عنہ سے زندگی یہ نہیں ہے کسی کے لیے، زندگی ہے نبی کی نبی کے لیے. نہ سمجھ مرتے ہیں زندگی کے لیے، نہ سمجھ مرتے ہیں زندگی کے لیے، جینا مرنا ہے سب کچھ نبی کے لیے. Now what does all of this mean for those who don't understand the language? And we do find that, and I said this many times before, that those who don't understand the language also, when you hear these kalams of the pious servants of Allah Almighty, the heart automatically becomes ecstatic. And what is the reason for that? Is because love is a language by itself. Ishq Rasul of Rasul, the Ishq of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a language by itself. Even though you do not understand sometimes, it does to your heart what anything else cannot do. And that is because of the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this kalam Huzur Tajushariah is saying, and I'm not going to read the Urdu Ash'ar, I'm just going to translate the English for you very quickly, give you the English translation. That I'll read the first share for barakat and continue. Zindagi ye nahi hai kisi ke liye, zindagi hai Nabi ki, Nabi ke liye. For none other has this life been created. For none other has this life been created. This life belongs to our Nabi. For our Nabi it was created. Allah created this life of ours because of our Nabi. Because Rasulullah Almighty said, had I not created Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I would have not even made it apparent that I am Allah. So everything is because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Na samajh marte hai zindagi ke liye, jeena marna hai sab kuch Nabi ke liye. The foolish die to attain this worldly life. The foolish die to attain this worldly life which will be discarded. The foolish die to attain this worldly life which will be discarded. Whereas life and death is for the Nabi. To him everything is entrusted. Whereas life and death is for the Nabi, to him everything is entrusted. I'm going to go through this kalam very quickly. For everyone the moonlight is transient and isolated. For everyone the moonlight is transient and isolated. To the slave of the Nabi, the moon is permanently committed. To the slave of the Nabi, the moon is permanently committed. In the safety of you are amongst them. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Anta fihim. Okay? Because Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam is amongst us always. So Tajushariah takes that, and in that kalam he says, Anta fihim kadaman, ke daman mein munkir bhi hai. Hum rahe ishrate daimi ke liye. In the safety of you are amongst them, even the enemy are included, while we have attained the bliss which will remain uninterrupted. Who are the ashikan and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Enjoy the transient pleasures of this world, O enemies dejected. Those who refuse and don't accept. Enjoy the transient pleasures, these temporary pleasures of this world. Enemies rejected, O enemies rejected. After death you will desire life, but your pleas will be rejected. After that you will desire life, but your pleas will be rejected. The spot of the Nabi's love, take to your grave well protected. Daag ishq Nabi le chale qabr mein. Okay, take with you. The spot of the Nabi's love, take to your grave well protected. Through this glowing lamp of love, your grave will be illuminated. Through this glowing lamp of love, your grave will be illuminated. Trace the footsteps of the devotees of the Nabi most exalted. Trace the footsteps of those who truly love Rasulullah. Trace, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, trace the footsteps of the devotees of the Nabi most exalted. Guiding us towards our Nabi, they are maps well drafted. Guiding us towards our Nabi, they are maps well drafted. May the way of AALA HAZRAT remain elevated. MASLAK AALA HAZRAT salamat rahe. May the way of AALA HAZRAT remain elevated, heralding the deen of Allah's Nabi. It is a sign well accepted. On the maslak of AALA HAZRAT remain firmly dedicated. Life was given to us that we remain completely devoted. This is why. And Sulle kulli Nabi ka nahi hai sunniyo. Sunni Muslim hai sacha Nabi ke liye. Why we always say this? The agents of unholy unity from the Nabi are disconnected. The agents of unholy unity from the Nabi are disconnected. In other words, the compromisers, the agents of unholy unity from the Nabi are disconnected. Only the Sunni Muslims are true loyal to the Nabi most exalted. I wish, Tajushariah says, I wish someone would say, by him you have been invited. By Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. वो बुलाते हैं कोई आवाज दे दम में पहुंचूं मैं दम में जा पहुंचूं मैं हाज़री के लिए. I wish someone would say, by him you have been invited. In a moment I would reach there to be humbly presented. Where? In the court of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then because you can't go, what do you say? Oh sweet fragrance of Medina. Oh sweet fragrance of Medina. Say to him what I have related. Oh sweet fragrance of Medina. Say to him what I have narrated. This beggar is waiting anxiously before him to be presented. This beggar is waiting anxiously before him to be presented. The hearts wherein the rays of your love remain manifested. Those hearts wherein the rays of your love remain manifested and acquiring the rays of the moonlight, they are indeed not interested. They are indeed not interested. The hearts of those where the rays of your love remain embedded, Ya Rasulullah. Fountains of light are they. which are radiantly reflected. And then he says, the hearts of those wherein the rays of your love remain embedded. Glowing stars of this era they are, brilliantly illuminated. Towards holy paradise, in the final share HAZRAT says, towards holy paradise, Akhtar the Qaadiri has departed. Towards holy paradise, Akhtar Qaadiri khuld mein chal diya. Khuld ba hai har ek Qaadiri ke liye. Towards holy paradise, Akhtar the Qaadiri has departed. For every single Qaadiri, holy paradise is unbolted, it's open. And Qaadiri means everybody who is Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat, whether you are Chishti, Soharwardi, Naqshbandi, anything. But in reality, we are Qaadiri because our nisbat is to Sarkar Ghaus Pak, because he is the Imam of Awliya. So he is saying this as his love and his obedience and his devotion to Huzur Sayyidina Ghaus Pak radiallahu ta'ala. Now this kalam of Huzur Tajushariah radiallahu anhu, it fits well with that I wanted to say. Time is not permitted to say much because I've read this kalam to you, but I thought for those children especially who don't understand the Urdu language, at least they will reflect on what has been said. At least they will understand when next time they read that kalam, inshallah al-azim, they will value the words that were mentioned. And this is very, very important. You must remember, Allah Almighty has given you this life as an amana. We have been entrusted with this life. When Allah wills, see, without comparison, if somebody gave you something as an amana, do you have any control about when he will take it back from you? I came to Haji Ibrahim, or I went to Hafiz Sharif, and I gave them one box of gold, which I don't have. I gave them one box of gold, and I said, this is an amana. May we get it for the sake of Allah's deen. This is an amana. Haji Sahab or Hafiz Sahab, look after this, I will come for it one of the days. Now Haji Sahab and Hafiz Sahab can't now take that box of gold and start going and giving everybody here one coin. Why? You have no authority over it. It doesn't belong to you. It was given to you as a trust. It is an amana. You have to keep it till he comes and asks you for it. Or he comes and takes it. He can just come and pick it up and take it away. It's his amana. Without comparison, Allah has given us this life as an amana. We have to protect it. Because when you got an amana, you have to protect it. When somebody gives you amana, something is entrusted to you, your primary duty is to protect it. That is your primary duty. To do what? To protect it. And if you do not protect it and it was lost under your supervision, then who is responsible for it? You are responsible. It's not to samajh mein aa gaya. This much you have understood. Bila tashbih, bila tamsil, without comparison. Allah has given you this life and this iman as an amana. And if you abuse it and its true worth is lost by you, who is responsible? You and I. And will you be held accountable for it? Yes, you will be held accountable for it. We will be held accountable in the court of Almighty Allah. Why? Because Allah gave you this and you did not protect it as you should. But when Allah wills, He is the Khaliq, He is the Malik. He's Qaadiri Mutlaq. When He wills, He will take your life away because it is His. It is an aman. But yet, man has sunk to such a level. Man has sunk to such a level where he values the entities of the materialistic world more than that which Allah has given him in his deen and his iman. In this life which he has to protect so much. Why you protect this life? For the sake of Allah. So that with this zindagi and this body that you have, you can put this head in sajda. So that you can pick up the Quran and with the eyes that Allah gave you, you can recite. With the zuban which He gave you, you can make tilawat. With the legs which He gave you, you can walk towards the house of Allah. With the hands which He gave you, you can help your mother to pick up something rather than shoving her. Allah forbid. Allah forbid. So, Allah has given us all of this as an amana. He has entrusted us with this to look after it. And each one of these limbs that Allah has given us has been given a duty. And if you do not fulfill that, what is going to happen to you and I? We are going to be accountable in the court of Almighty Allah. Either way, okay? But the odd thing is about insan, as to which we love all those things that are harmful to us. Usually, generally. People dislike that which is beneficial to them. And they love that which is harmful to them. People love making guna. People love making zina. Ma'adallahi Rabbil Alameen. It's become so common. People are doing whatever they feel like. They think there is no afterwards life. Jo hoga hoga, khatam ho gaya marne ke baad. No such thing. Khuda ke bargah mein jawab dena hoga. You will have to answer in the court of Almighty Allah. People sit and gamble. They sit the entire night watching television. The youngsters are sitting entire night on Facebook and social media and Instagram and doing khurafat. Because they think nothing will happen. When you go to your grave, then you will realize what is happening. It will be too late. There will be nobody to save you then. It will be too late. Why do we love those things which are so harmful to us? Why are we so attracted to those things which are so harmful to us? What is the reason for this? It's because shaitan flows in you like the blood flows in your vessels. But if you stand in the court of Allah and remember Him, if you ask Allah to forgive you sincerely, if you do things which are virtuous, then Allah willing, Allah will protect you from those sins. But today people sin without remorse even. They do the guna and they think they're doing something good. You must remember, why did you come into this dunya? وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have created not man and jinn, but for the sole purpose of my ibadat. You are here for Allah's ibadat. And you would not have been able to do that ibadat if it were not for Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is why we say zindagi hai nabi ki nabi ke liye. Okay? But the hal is this ke na samajh marte hai zindagi ke liye. The condition is this, that the foolish people are dying running behind the world. We all want to gather the world as much as we can. This is our condition. We have to look at ourselves and be real about it. We want the dunya, you know, what we call it chasing. You didn't realize the more you chase the dunya, the further it runs from you. The more you chase the dunya, the further it runs from you. And the more you run behind it, the further you will run from the mercy of Allah. Okay? We love these things. There is a narration reported by Ibn Mubarak. And Imam Ahmad has reported it in Zuhad. And Hayyan bin Jabala, who report this narration from HAZRAT Sayyidina Abu Dhar Ghafari radiallahu anh and HAZRAT Abu Darda radiallahu anh, reports this narration that, speaking to humankind, it is being said, you produce offspring, so they die. You have children, but what is the end? Maut. You produce offspring to die. You populate the earth for it to become empty. You produce offspring for them to die. You populate the earth, so one day it's going to become empty. And thereafter it is said in this Mubarak narration, you have greed for that which perishes. You have greed for that which perishes, and you ignore that which stays. You have greed for that which perishes, and you ignore that which remains. And it came in the Mubarak narration, take heed. Allah, beware. There are three disliked things which are better for you. There are three disliked things, things which you dislike, which are better for you. Maut. People dislike that, but it is better for you. It is one narration that a man only can see Jannat after he dies. There are three things which it doesn't mean you must wish for that. There's a difference of rulings on that also. Show me how you're going to see Jannat here. Marna parega. So why you dislike it? There's come in the hadith that death is a bridge that connects the beloved to the beloved. But we dislike it. So it is being mentioned there are three things which you dislike, which are better for you. Number one, death. Number two, illness. And number three, poverty. But these three things, don't we dislike? You dislike when you get sick. You dislike when you lose some money. All of us, it's our nature. But it is mentioned in the Hadith Mubarakah that these things are better for us. When time permits, inshallah, I'll explain in detail what this really means. But we look at another narration that gives some explanation about it. This has been narrated by Imam Bayhaqi radiallahu anh in Shu'abul Iman. Imam Bayhaqi radiallahu anh is reported in Shu'abul Iman from HAZRAT Sayyidina Zur'a ibn Abdullah. From HAZRAT Sayyidina Zur'a ibn Abdullah, that your and my Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, a man loves life, whereas death is better for him. Our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. A man loves life, whereas death is better for him. I mean, a man loves an excess of wealth, yet having less of it will lessen his accountability on the day of Qiyamah. The more you have, the more you have to answer, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is saying. The less you have, the less you have to answer. Think about it. Today, without comparison, time is limited, so I'm not going to go too much more. I'll give you a simple example. When you intend to move into a new house, you're living in an old house. It's something that most of us can relate to. When you live in an old house for a long time and you finally want to move into a new house, how excited people are. Your wife is very excited, your children are very excited, you're also excited. But then you're also thinking, ki kharch bhi karna padega. They'll want this in the house, they'll want I have to spend. Hota hai na? Human nature. But everybody else is very excited to move into the house. When you build a new house and you want to move into that new house, whether you move into a house that is ready or you build a house, either way everybody in the house is very excited about it. But especially when you want to build, what do? You choose the best architect. Do you choose an architect who can't draw straight lines? You choose the best architect. And with that, you choose the most reliable builder, somebody who will at least finish your job, right? You'll choose the most reliable builder. And with that, you will be worried about the builder and all this. Your wife will be looking for the interior designer. And they will go high and low to find the best one, because he has to give particular attention to all the detail of how this line will come inside on the wall when they paint. How the shelf will sit in the angle. How that wall and this wall must match in the same color. Interior designer will be the best you will choose. And we search high and low for this. We're paying attention to every single little detail, because I'm moving into this new house. My beloveds, this is the house of the earth. This is your house above the zameen. How much effort have you and I made before we go to the house which is beneath the earth? What have we done? It's something to think about. I'm going to end with this today. Think about all we do for the dunya. I'm not saying don't do within the permissible manner everything. But how much we do for the house above the earth, which one day will not stand. The people of that house will leave and that house may remain for a while. Everything will become fana. But when you go into that grave, which is your house under the earth, what have you done to beautify that house? What have I done to make sure that that house will be comfortable for me? If you went to nightclubs and sat on Facebook the entire night, you think that house is going to be good? If you spend time doing haram all your life, you think that house is going to be good? If you spent your days and nights sleeping while the muazzin was saying Hayya al-Salah, Hayya al-Falah, do you think that house is going to be good? That house will be good when Dar Ishq Nabi le chalo qabr mein. When in your heart you take the lamp of the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then that house will be so big that no house in the dunya can compare to it. That house will be so bright that no lights of the world can compare to it. The fragrance will be the fragrance of Jannah, and the windows will give you the breeze of Jannatul Firdaus. The bed will be the bed of Jannah. But all that depends on going from this dunya with iman and your amal which you go in this dunya. Your deeds which you perform in this dunya. Think we prepare everything for this dunya, for the house of this world. Ask myself the question, and you ask yourself, what have I made for the preparation of the akhirat? What have I done? And I'm going to continue this topic, inshallah, next week. If Allah wills and we are alive. We will discuss this very same topic on how important it is for you to value those things which you think are not best for you, and to remember them. Because you only remember illness when you become ill. We only remember death when somebody dies in our house. We only remember poverty when we lose what we lose. Before that we forget and are drowned in the love of this dunya. This is what we have to think about. And this is what gives strength to your iman. It brings you closer in the court of Almighty Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I've taken 6 minutes, I think, more of your time today. Allah give you barakat in your time. Allah allow us to be firm in our deen. Allah keep us firm on mazhab muhazzab, mazhab AALA, sunnat, maslak, HAZRAT. All those that are ill, Allah grant them shifa kamil, sa'at ajil. Those that have passed away in Ahlul Sunnah, Allah exalt them in Jannatul Na'im. I want to make special dua for brother Sayyid Asghar, the brother of Sayyid Abdul Aziz. I only came to know yesterday that he passed away a week ago. Very good brother. I think he was Murid of Huzur Sayyid Allah Masjid Shaturabul Haqra. Allah exalt him in Jannah. Allah give his family sabr Jameel. And Allah Ta'ala give him special place in his Jawar Rahmah. All those that are going through any other parishani and difficulty, Allah remove them from the parishani and the difficulty. And we make special dua. Do not forget the Muslims of Palestine. Make dua for the Muslims of Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon them. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy and ruin those who are trying to harm the deen of Allah and the believers throughout the dunya. Allah keep us with iman. Let us leave the world with iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us firm, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to understand His religion and to make amal upon that which we hear. Wa ma'alim bilal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.